Good morning, good morning, good morning, everybody. Thank you for joining today. This is another edition of Winning in the Word, what we call Marketplace Monday. And I know last week we started talking about getting a promotion or a raise in the next 180 days, getting a promotion or a raise in the next 180 days. Today, I want to start out by talking about step one, which I think as we talk about getting a raise, or getting a promotion in 180 days, step number one is probably the most important step. There's going to be probably 6, 7, maybe 8 steps to this. But step one is document and set clear objectives and expectations. Document and set clear objectives and expectations. When we're preparing anytime to meet with our bosses, whether it's talking about career development, career advancement, a pay raise, a promotion, whatever it is that you're meeting with them to discuss, it is crucial that you come well prepared, and it is crucial that you're very clear about your expectations. Number one, the first and foremost thing that it shows is respect for their time, respect for them, and honor for them giving you the opportunity to even have this conversation. So I think that's very, very important that we always remember that. I'll also say when talking about a pay raise, don't ever talk about a pay raise in the terms of dollars and cents. Don't ever say, I'm looking for a 50-cent raise. I'm looking for a $2 raise. I'm looking for a $3,000 yearly raise. I'm looking for a $5,000 yearly raise. Always talk about it in percentages. I'm looking for a 3% raise. I'm looking for a 6% raise. I'm looking for a 9% raise. Always understand what your salary is. Make sure you know your salary. What is your salary? If you're on an hourly wage, then figure out what that is per year. If you make $15 an hour, multiply that by however many hours you work, multiplied by 52 weeks in a year, and come up with your salary, and then figure it out. Figure it out that way. Always make sure, number one, always make sure when you're speaking about money, you talk in percentages. So what are we going to do? So number one, I want to help you define today, number one, what you want to achieve. You need to be very, much more specific about exactly what you're looking for. Typically in this meeting, it should occur. This meeting should occur 90 days after a review. It should occur 90. So the first thing you got to do before you talk about an increase or a promotion, you need to have a 90-day review. Some of you may say, well, my company doesn't give reviews. I've never had a review. What does that even mean? Well, number one, if you don't have reviews, you need to request one. And generally, I would tell you, find out, I wouldn't even always request it. If your company doesn't give reviews, I would request it by email of HR, whoever is in HR. Okay. What are things that you cover in a review? At the end of your review, they're going to have all of what they call and what they do and what the boxes they need to check off in their review. Here are some questions I want you to ask at the end of the review. Number one, what can I do to help improve my performance? What can I do to help improve the performance of the team? What can I do to help improve my performance? What can I do to help improve the performance of the team? Those are two very crucial things. Number one, you're talking about improving yourself, but you're also showing that you care about the performance of the team. You care about more than just you, right? Number two, write it down. What can I do to add more value to the team? Not just improve the performance of the team, not just improve your performance, but what can you do to add more value, to make the quality of what the team delivers, make the quality of what you deliver greater? Think about that. Think about that. And then I would ask this question. This is always a great question to judge the barometer of where your boss thinks you are. I would say to them this: hey, if you had a team, let's say your team today is 6 people on your team, right? If you had a team that had 3 more Nicks on it, if you had 3 more of me on your team, if you could replace 3 of your team members with 3 more people identical to me, would the team be better off, the same, or worse off? Would the team be better off, the same, or worse off? This is a way for you to ask your boss if he values you. He's going to tell you. I remember, look, if our church had 50 more of you in it, would it be a better church or a church with more problems? That's a great, great question to ask. And then at the very end, especially of a 90-day review, I would ask, what is, my path? Listen to my words here. What is my path to a significant increase or promotion? And the conversation goes something like this. Hey, John, I'm sure you watch the news. I'm sure you see what's going on in the economy today. Things are getting really, really, kind of tough out there, right? So, just a typical 2-3% raise doesn't even keep up with inflation today. Inflation's at an all-time high, So I've really been praying about this and thinking about it, and I need to figure out a way to make myself more valuable to the company, so that I can get a significant. I'm not talking about, I'm making $50,000 a year, as you're my boss. I'm not talking about getting another $3,000 a year. How do I go from 50 to 100? How do I go from 50 to 75? How do I get a 50% raise? How do I get a 100% raise? Is that even possible within the company? What are your thoughts around that? Now let your boss start to talk and get a clear understanding of how the company's looking at pay increases. Are they even considering? Are they even talking about it? Okay? So that's the 90-day meeting before. Now let's talk about the 2 other meetings you're going to have after that. You're going to have a meeting to talk about the promotion, or you're going to have a meeting to talk about increase. And you can kind of do these in the same meeting, but you got to come prepared. So the first thing you got to do is, if you're looking for a promotion within your company, the number one thing you got to do is know the job you would like to be promoted to. Number one thing you got to do is know the job that you would like to be promoted to. What does that mean, know the job? Don't just know the job. Get an understanding of everything about the job. What's the expectation? What are the requirements? What certificates are required? What training is required? What education level is required? What's the success criteria for the job? Know the job inside and out. So the first thing I would do is find out, either through HR or through your boss, right? What, if any, information do they have about it? Things like, who's the hiring manager? Who's the hiring manager? Do they know the hiring manager? Does your boss know the person that's hiring for this role? Another great question. This is all going to be put together in a catalog if you miss any of this, or you can go back and watch it. But number one, who is the hiring manager? Do they know the hiring manager? Another great question to ask. How do they feel you would fit the role? How do they feel you would fit this role that you're looking to get promoted to? Another great question. Would he or she recommend you for the promotion? So if the hiring manager called and asked for a recommendation, you got to look them right in the eyes, guys. So let me ask you a question, Mark. If I applied for this job and they called you, would you recommend me for the job? See that silence there? First one to speak loses. If your manager don't respond and you start talking, you're never going to hear how they feel. Be quiet. till they speak. Let them talk. If they take too long to think about it, they've already told you what they think. Another thing I would ask your boss, do they know the pay range of this new role or this new position? Sometimes HR will tell you, sometimes they'll tell you a little bit different. Get different sources of information. So that's the kind of questions you want to ask if you're in a meeting about getting a promotion that's outside your, in other words, not your boss promoting you to a position within his organization. That's getting promoted outside the organization. If you're going to get promoted within your boss's organization and you meet that person, your boss, to have the conversation about you being promoted, that should be an ebb and flow conversation that's always going on in your 90-day reviews. What is it that you need to do to be promoted? What is the likelihood of you being promoted? Also, understand your promotion policy from within your own company. Some companies love to promote within. Some companies love to hire outside and bring outside people in. See what your company thinks. How does your company think about it? Would they rather promote from within? Another thing you got to consider, and you'll hear me talk about this at the end of today's message, but sometimes you have to move on. You have to leave your current job to get an increase or a promotion. Why is that, Pastor? Not to get an increase, but to get a promotion. Why is that, Pastor? Because sometimes you're too valuable to your boss for him to recommend you or promote you. Your boss is thinking about their self-interest, and they'd rather keep you on their team than help you get promoted off their team. That happens. That's very real in corporate America. Now, if that's the case, then you can utilize that to get really, really good increases in pay. But you may come to the point to where you're maxed out and now you have to move on. I had to do that in telecom. I literally had to leave my current company because they would not make sales guys from within sales managers. So I had to go to another company to get that job. And it came with a hefty raise. So let's talk about increase now. So that's getting a promotion. We're going in now. We want to talk about getting an increase. Number one, beware of what's going on within the company. Self-awareness when you're talking about increase is crucial. Be aware if the company's, letting people go, if the company's cutting salaries, if the company's reducing hours, if the company is in a financial hardship, it may not be the right time to ask for an increase. So make sure you know what's going on within your company, right? Be aware of increases that you've gotten in the past. Maybe your company's given you a raise every year for the last 3 or 4 years. Maybe they've given you a really, really good raises each of those 3 or 4 years. And now they miss, 1 year because things are whatever. And now you come to them. So you got to balance all of that out. Okay? Before you go for an increase, get 2 reports, independent reports about your position. Make sure you know your roles and responsibilities. Get these reports so you know what the expectation of the salary range in your area and in your market should be for what you do. Where did I get those at, Pastor? Glassdoor, Salary Expert, salary.com, Indeed, PayScale, Glassdoor, Salary Expert, salary.com, Indeed, PayScale. Those all, you can put in all your information and they'll tell you roughly what your position should be paying. Make sure that you look at the totality of what you make. What do you mean? Sometimes we don't include soft benefits. Sometimes your company allows you to do lots of things that makes your life a lot easier. Maybe they let you off early. Maybe they let you do this with your children. Maybe they're real lenient. Take everything into consideration before you go pressing a company too hard. Make sure that you can speak to your role and your history when you go for a raise. What does that mean? Know what you've gotten on your reviews in the past, right? And if they're telling you that they're not giving out increases at the time, again, and you know the company's doing okay, it might be the time to talk about the economic environment and what's going on and have that discussion. But today, as I close, don't forget this. You can never be afraid to move on. Sometimes that's the only way to get a promotion and the only way to get an increase. However, like I said earlier, I caution you that if you have worked somewhere for a while and they've been a good company and you have soft perks and you're in a good environment, I would always look at the TCO. What's the total cost of ownership? What is the total of what they're giving you? Okay. I hope this has helped today. We're going to continue on next week. Join us as we're going to talk about enhancing your skills. Write this down. Skills equal value. Enhancing your skills. Skills equal value. I want to teach you how to identify skills and things that you could do to make yourself more valuable within your own company or prepare you as you exit the company to get a 50, 100% increase by just fine tuning some of your skills. Amen. All right, guys, love you a lot. I hope this has helped today. Join us next Monday. We're going to keep going on these till you get them all. Till then, Pastor Nick saying, enjoy